Um, this face of Jesus, the image of Christ glorified in Santa Pudenziana, then transferred to depictions of the historical Jesus. So by the 5th century, we get the historical Jesus portrayed with long robes and the hair parted in the middle. So it starts off Christ glorified sometime in the 4th century, and then it transfers to the historical Jesus. And it was underscored by claims made about certain holy artifacts. And these artifacts were considered not made with human hands. They were somehow miraculously produced. And one of the most famous in the ancient world was the Mandelion, which was shown in Edessa and was a kind of palladium. It kept the city of Edessa safe. So this Mandelion shows Jesus in quite a Zen-like way, a very impassive expression on his face. Of course, showing him as a man of Syrian descent, Palestinian, Syrian, Jewish descent, dark skin, dark hair, so at least they've got that right. But the long hair and the beard has actually now been adopted from the image of Zeus for the historical Jesus. And we see that image then going through with other holy artifacts all the way through to the Turin Shroud, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. It becomes so stamped on people's consciousness that is the image of Jesus. So miraculous images were thought to correlate with this image of Jesus with the long hair and the beard. It is a fixed idea, as I said before, in Western art. But if we go back before we get the young Zeus kind of image, the glorified throne-sitting Jesus of Santa Pudenziana, what we have in early Christian art is a different kind of Jesus. And this was very, very much the main way of showing the historical Jesus in the 4th century and in the 3rd century, in the later 3rd century. He's beardless, he's youthful looking, he tends to be very beautiful looking, and we might think at that point, maybe this is the more authentic Jesus we've got now. But no, in fact, what is happening here is just a simple transfer of another kind of early artistic tradition, and this is the tradition of Dionysus. Dionysus tended to be presented with great curls, and in this image you can see Jesus is still sitting on a throne. He's got a rather fancy chair, if it's not a throne, not a phone. And he's got much bigger hair than any of his disciples. He's got big curly hair. And when you see big curly hair in iconography, think Dionysus, who is also a god of inspiration, a god that brings wine to his followers. There are all sorts of things that could be associated with Dionysus to early Christians. So it made sense for them to depict the earthly Jesus in the guise of Dionysus. So you see Jesus as Dionysus, rather beautiful hair, when his disciples may be bearded, Jesus is not. He's this beautiful boy. So this beautiful boy you see with also Hermes, another figure, another god with curly hair, but Dionysus was the curly-haired god supreme, and sometimes his grapevines were blended with his curly locks, so you couldn't tell one from the other. Often he's presented with golden hair, which feeds into this idea of Jesus himself being quite fair in European art. There's an image of Jesus, Christus,